Okay, so when last we left, we were looking at these four web addresses and trying to rank them in terms of authority. Hopefully, you have your ranking down, written down somewhere next to you. This is what I would do. I'd put the government site up at the top, and then in second, we would have the .com, and then underneath, we would have these two sites probably tied because they're both referring to personal web pages, one on blogspot.com and one being affiliated with a university because of that edu address. Now, an edu address could have something that a student wrote, or it could also have something that a faculty member wrote. Now, the faculty member is going to have more ethos. Sometimes faculty members will put some of their lectures and materials online, so that might be useful. But you wouldn't necessarily know any of that until you actually went to the site. But if we're just looking at domain names, this is the ranking that I would do. So what you'll be doing this week in week 10 is finding the author. The word authority comes from the same root as author, and a source's authority often depends on who its author is. This is usually easy to determine with books and magazine articles. Some nonfiction books are written under a pseudonym or a pen name, but most print authors take responsibility for their work right on the cover or in the byline. So that's pretty clear and easy to see. However, on the internet, authorship can be more difficult to determine. Some sites have only one author. Others have many authors who may or may not use their real names. Some sites have no obvious author because their content might be written by a number of people who do not get authorship credit. It's generally best not to trust any information you find on the internet until you can at least determine who wrote it. Many websites have an About section, so you can click on that. If this doesn't answer your question about who wrote it, check for contact information. Sometimes an FAQ or frequently asked questions list will answer questions about authorship. I usually scroll down to the bottom of a page to see if I can figure out who the author is. This can be a little bit of detective work, but that's the kind of detective work that you're going to do this week. So when you're looking up at the two sources that you find for week 10, these are the questions that I'm going to have you look at. Who authored the information on the website you chose? Is it a single author? Is there a group of authors? If you cannot find a named author, can you get other clues about where the content came from? For example, what is the purpose of the site? If there is not one clear author, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to throw out that web source. If you have any specific questions about a web source, just feel free to email me, send me the link that you're looking at, and let me know if you're having a hard time figuring out the author or whether or not you think it would be a credible source.